The movie starts with a very strange story. Imagine this. You're sitting at home, minding your own business, when suddenly you find something you've been looking for, the washing machine suddenly stops, and your cat starts behaving nicely. If you think all of this is just a coincidence, you're wrong. All of this is the work of strange creatures called Finns that live in everyone's house. We can't see them, but they can see us perfectly well and watch us 24 hours a day. But don't worry, these creatures are friendly. They protect you and keep your house in order. However, if I were you, I wouldn't be too relaxed because there is one Finn who's completely different from the others. His name is Finnick, the hero of our movie. Let's hope you don't run into him like this family, who ran out of the house scared and terrified. Of course, the one responsible for this is Finnick, who deliberately scares anyone who tries to live in the house, because, in his opinion, humans mean trouble, and he wants to live alone in the house, doing whatever he wants. Now, let's move on to the unfortunate family that ends up in Finnick's house. Let's get to know them well. This is Christine, who has suspense and detective instincts running through her veins. And her role model in life is the great Detective Sherlock, who solves mysteries. As for her parents, they are merely aspiring actors, dreaming of stardom. This family is always on the move, and don't stay in one place for long, because of course, they are actors. After a lot of moving around, they finally arrive in the city of Berg, and enter the studio, where they meet the director's assistant, who gives them their script for what they are supposed to act out, gives them the key to their new house, and leaves. They then stop to watch the actors, including one named JB, who's just an extra, but he wants to show the director his acting talents, so he goes off script and adds a few touches of his own. Everyone there starts laughing at him, including the director, who gets annoyed with him and kicks him out. But it doesn't stop there. JB trips, falls, knocks down the set, and ends up ruining the studio, causing a fire. So, it's a lovely first day for the family in the city. But what happened doesn't bother them. And they head to their new home, where they are going to live. Of course, I don't need to tell you that it's Finnick's house, who gets angry as soon as he sees them, and swears to scare them away. The next day is Finnick's lucky day, because Christine stays home alone after her parents go to work. He's planning to target her with his pranks to scare her, making her think the house is haunted, so she and her family will live like the ones before them. But he was wrong, because he's dealing with Detective Christine herself, who isn't afraid of anything, because she knows there's a scientific explanation for everything that happens, even though Finnick tries everything to scare her, turning lights on and off, turning the TV on by itself, knocking things over. In short, he does everything you see in horror movies. And then he reveals himself when he accidentally gets caught in the curtain, which falls on him. Christine grabs the curtain and doesn't let go, even though it's moving on its own. She holds on so tight that a piece of Finnick's fur ends up in her hand. This lets her see him, and she's very surprised when she does. He explains that he's one of the Finns, which no one can see, but she was able to see him because she managed to pull out a full clump of his fur. He keeps begging her to give it back, but she refuses. And here the door knocks, and Finnick friends, who are also from the Fang creatures, come to take him to their weekly meeting. He asks Christine to pretend she can't see them, and to act naturally. So, she does what any normal person would do. She freezes in her place, almost paralyzed and wide-eyed, as if she's been turned into a statue. Sure, she might have given humans a reputation for being a bit dumb, but no big deal. When they go off to the meeting, she finally snaps out of it and follows them. During the meeting, when the elder Finn asks Finnick about the new tenants who moved into his house, he says they are just normal people. Among the Finns is one named Muffin, who is teased by the others because of his human friend JB, who almost burned down the studio where he was working. But Muffin defends JB, insisting he's talented and not a failure like they say. and that he will become a famous actor. The meeting then ends, and Christine heads home and makes a bracelet out of Finnick's fur and wears it on her wrist so she can always see him. Christine then asks Finnick why he's so bothered by humans. He tells her that he doesn't like them because they are messy, noisy, and turned his house into a circus, destroying it into the process. That's why he kept scaring them away. He finally realized that as long as there are no humans, there are no problems. He talks passionately about what annoys him, like how they cut the grass with machines, and it drives him crazy trying to understand why they even plant it if they are just going to cut it. He loses it and starts hitting the machine, while Christine just stands there letting him do his thing. But he takes it too far, and the machine retaliates by turning on and dragging both him and Christine with it. Christine finds herself in a bizarre situation where the machine seems to be setting an old score with Finnick. She's caught in the middle, like, why is this happening to me? The machine drags them until they fall into a truck carrying coal. They start arguing until the truck reaches a factory. So they get off, and the truck enters to unload the coal. But it turns out to be popcorn, leading to a huge disaster. Christine, who's outside the factory, sees what happens and spots the person responsible. She quickly takes a picture before he gets into his car and drives away. Suddenly, a popcorn volcano erupts, flooding the entire city with popcorn. It feels like a popcorn tsunami has hit the city. At this moment, Christine realizes that the photo she took doesn't show culprit, which means he's one of the fans, not a human. So Christine turns to Finnick and asks him to help her catch the fan responsible for this mess. And Finnick agrees, but only if she gives him back his fur. And he agrees to return it after they catch the culprit. And they make a deal. They immediately start investigating. So Christine takes Finnick and shows him the spot where she saw the fin when he got into his car and fled. There she notices oil marks on the ground from the car, and they follow the trail until it disappears. At that moment, Christine comes up with a clever idea. Channeling her inner detective Sherlock, she asks Finnick to sniff out and track the car's trail. Finnick, feeling insulted as if she's treating him like a dog, gets upset and raises his voice at her, but then just starts sniffing around like nothing happened. They manage to follow the trail until they spot the car, but it's moving quickly, so Christine doesn't let it go, and off she goes running, dragging poor Finnick behind her, and she even makes him keep sniffing while being dragged along. Eventually, they see the car arrive at the train station, and the hidden fin sneaks into the control room and manages to change the track, setting up a collision between two trains. And all of this happens without the employees noticing. Meanwhile, Christine and Finnick arrive at the station and rush to board the train, trying to catch up with the car to find out where it's going. Unfortunately, the car turns down a side street and escapes them. Back to the railway employees, who finally wake up and realize that two trains are on the same track and about to crash. They quickly call one of the train drivers and tell him to stop immediately, and he does just in time, and then rushes to tell the passengers to get off quickly because another train is heading straight for them. Christine and Finnick are among the passengers, while the other train can't stop in time, and it crashes into them. It's a freight train, and everything on it falls off, causing a massive accident. But thankfully, no one's hurt. Afterward, the same fin enters the windmill control room, ties up all the workers, and reverses the windmill's rotation, causing all the loose feathers to fly off and creating a huge tornado. Then Christine and Finnick see a car and jump into it, though I'm not sure why the townspeople trust each other so much that they leave their cars unlocked. This car seems to have been placed there just for this scene. Not only is it unlocked, but the keys are inside, and Christine knows exactly where to find them. Anyway, Christine and Finnick try to escape in the car, but they don't make it. The tornado swallows them in, and they keep trying to get out. and they finally succeed, finding themselves right in front of the control room. What a coincidence! They enter, and Christine unties the workers who return the controls to normal, stopping the windmill and calming the tornado. At this point, Christine calls her mom to check on her and overhears her talking to the assistant director about the events of the TV show. Strangely, these events are exactly what has been happening. So Christine realizes that someone is carrying out the script's events in real life to destroy the town. Then she and Finnick rush to the studio to read the script and find out what the next crime will be. They manage to get their hands on the script, and when Christine reads it, she understands that the next target is the giant Ferris wheel, which the culprit plans to use to destroy all the houses. Just then, the director arrives, so Christine and Finnick quickly run out. By coincidence, they spot the car they were looking for. Another unbelievable coincidence. Of course, Christine climbs into the car to investigate, but the door locks behind her, and the car drives off with her inside, while Finnick chases after it but can't catch up. And let's go back to Christine, who finds the car stopping, and someone opens the door. It turns out to be JB, the actor. He's surprised to see her in his car and helps her out. She then starts telling him about the fans that live in every house and how one of them must be behind everything that's been happening, and explains that no one can see them unless they have a clump of their fur, and shows him her bracelet. But then he surprises her by showing that he's wearing a similar bracelet, and his fan, named Muffin, appears to her. She realizes that both JB and Muffin are behind what's happening in the town. I don't know how she didn't figure this out sooner, given that she's supposed to be a detective. Then she tries to escape, but she can't. JB starts telling her how no one appreciated his talent, and everyone always calling him a failure, and he was always alone, until one day he found an envelope on his desk containing a bracelet, and when he wrote it, he could see Muffin, and they have been friends ever since, doing everything together. He decided to show everyone that he's a talented actor and not a failure, and he tells her that he's going to destroy the entire town. So Christine tells him that she knows his next plan, to destroy the town with the giant Ferris wheel, and that he's following the script of the TV show. At that moment, she is shocked to discover that JB has captured a group of fans, taken their fur and made a suit out of it. He wears the suit to become invisible and do whatever he wants without anyone seeing him. Suddenly, Finnick shows up. Of course, you all know how he found them. Yes, he sniffed his way there. But this entrance doesn't change anything, because JB quickly overpowers him, ties him up along with Christine, takes her bracelet, and puts Finnick in his car. JB plans to take Finnick's fur too, and then he drives off to the amusement park to carry out his plan. Meanwhile, Muffin realizes that JB actually intends to throw the Ferris wheel onto the houses, which will destroy them and all the fans living in them. Muffin's conscience kicks in, and he tries to convince JB to change his plan, warning him that many houses and fans will be destroyed if he goes through with this. But JB refuses and insists on his plan. Muffin, upset with JB, tries to stop him from continuing, but JB gets angry and shaves off all of Muffin's fur. It's ironic, what Muffin did to others is now being done to him. Then, JB throws Muffin into the truck with Finnick. At this moment, Christine manages to free herself and tries to escape, and comes up with a plan. Grabs some ice cream and shows it to the fans, who break the cage they are trapped in to get it. Then, she throws the ice cream out of the window, and they break free, allowing Christine to escape too. Meanwhile, JB tries to cut Finnick's fur, but Finnick fights back and throws him out of the car. Furious, JB sets the car on fire. To get rid of both of them, detaches the truck and drives off. Finnick, thinking quickly, breaks the car window and frees Muffin, but he can't get out himself, so he asks Muffin for help. However, Muffin is in a strange state and leaves him behind. So Finnick finds himself alone in the middle of the fire. So he starts pushing the cord until it crashes into a tree and falls out. Meanwhile, after Christine escapes, she goes to the place where the fans gather and introduces herself, telling them that she's Finnick's friend and that she knows they exist. She explains the whole story to them, telling them that JB, Muffin's friend, is kidnapping fans, shaving their fur, and hurting them. But that's not all. He's also responsible for all the disasters that have happened in the town, and now he's planning to destroy the entire town using the Ferris wheel and the amusement park. If this happens, their homes will be destroyed, and both the fans and their human friends will be harmed. She tells them they have to stop him before it's too late, and that they can do it if they all work together. Christine plays with them to help her save Finnick from JB, as she can do it alone, and starts crying. Then she's surprised when the elder fan cuts a piece of his fur and places it in her hand, allowing her to see all of them, and tells her that he and all the fans will help her. Then they all rush to the amusement park, and Christine tells them they need to take JB's fursuit and the bracelet he's wearing, then leave the rest to the police. By this time, JB has reached the amusement park and climbed onto the Ferris wheel, where he has prepared a bomb to set it off, causing it to move towards the town and destroy all the houses. But Finnick catches up to him before he can detonate the bomb, and they start fighting. Finnick manages to grab JB's lighter and throws it at him, setting his fursuit on fire, making him visible to everyone. But unfortunately, JB still succeeds in detonating the bomb, causing the Ferris wheel to break free, and Finnick is thrown off, but luckily isn't hurt, and clings onto the wheel as it rolls away. At that moment, Christine and the fans arrive. She runs up the Ferris wheel to reach Finnick, while the other fans work together to place objects under the wheel to change its direction and prevent it from crashing into the houses. Eventually, they steer it towards the filming location where Christine's parents are shooting a scene. And when they see her, they rush to help. And with the assistance of the fans, they manage to topple the first wheel into the water, saving the town from a major disaster. Finally, the police arrest JB. The next day, Christine sits with Finnick and tells him that now everything is over. They can both go their separate ways and return to their normal lives. She gives him back the fur bracelet she had, but she's surprised when he hands her another bracelet he made for her out of his fur. So she realizes that he wants to stay with her and not leave, which makes her very happy, and she hugs him. Then they go to the amusement park together and have a great time. As for the fans, don't worry, they got their fur back. And during Christine's vacation, she goes out with her parents, and they are approached by the director's assistant, who offers them the lead roles in a new TV series. They are thrilled and accept the offer, and the show becomes a huge success, and they become famous and buy Finnick's house, renovating and fixing it up, and Finnick lives with them, taking care of the house and keeping it clean. And of course we know that only Christine can see him. They all live together in happiness and love. And that's how the movie ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next movie.